Welcome to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. We are the largest grassroots advocacy network for people with mental illness and their family members, with over 800 national affiliates and 15 Kansas affiliates, with NAMI Wichita being one of those 15. We provide awareness, support, education, and advocacy for people affected by mental illness. Our purpose here is to provide a community conversation on KSUN Radio that gives insight into what it's like to live with a mental illness. Our intention and our hope is that our program will change attitudes, assumptions, and stereotypes about people with mental health conditions. My name is David Larson. I am very pleased and proud to be your host today, and I am a person living with mental illness. I am in recovery for major depressive disorder. Like everyone, I struggle with the ups and downs of emotions and the challenges of being fully human, but I am doing great. And I know I have many gifts to offer my family, my friends, and my community. And it is my pleasure to introduce our guest for today, Carol. Hello, Carol.
Hi.
Say hello to our listening audience.
Hello.
So, what can we start with? Let's start with, where were you born and where did you grow up?
I was born in Denver, Colorado, and I grew up in Lyons, Colorado, a little small town.
Yes, I know Denver and Lyons and all of Colorado area. I used to live in Alamosa, Colorado.
I used to live in Wheat Ridge.
Hey, yes.
Sorry.
So I understand. So where did you graduate from high school?
At Lyons High School.
In Lyons? Okay, and what was their mascot?
Lions.
The Lions.
That makes perfect sense.
We were the Lions.
That's brilliant.
Are you sure you're not lying to us?
No, we were Lions, and they still are Lions.
That's fair enough.
That's excellent.
That is awesome.
It's sort of redundant, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, you put a smile on all our faces. That's awesome.
It's like, yeah, make me want to roar.
You bet. So, you grew up in Lyons, and you graduated from high school there. Where did you go from there? Did you go to college?
I graduated from Larimer County Votech in Fort Collins with the LPN.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then I went on to Emporia State and got my bachelor's degree in nursing. And I graduated from there in '96.
Okay.
So I was kind of a late.
I'm so envious. I'm envious because
awesome.
she got to go to school in Colorado.
In Fort Collins.
In Fort Collins. Ooh, that's a lovely place.
It is a lovely place.
And then she spent time in Emporia, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
The Flint Hills are beautiful.
Yeah, and that means that you're a Hornet.
Emporia Hornet, yeah.
That's right, Emporia State. See, I know these things.
Okay. See, I didn't know that.
I know you know.
Yeah. Now I do. Okay. So you went to Emporia, and so then from there, what did you do?
Well, I went to work and worked as a nurse. I worked as a nurse all my life, but from Emporia, after I graduated and got my degree, I accidentally became a director of nursing of a nursing home.
Accidentally. I like that.
I like how you put that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
I wasn't planning to be the director of nursing, but
Yes.
I was a director of nursing in Eureka, and I worked there about 6 months, and the company sold that facility, so they had me go to be a director of nursing in Linden, Kansas. So I was director of nursing there, and they sold that facility, so I moved out to Garden City and was an assistant director of nursing out there.
Wow.
And
So you have been busy.
She's seen the state of Kansas.
yeah.
Yes. Well, that's awesome. Well, now let's go a little bit deeper here, and let me ask, what is your diagnosis?
Major depression.
Major depression, okay.
I probably was undiagnosed for a lot of years, but I didn't get diagnosed until I was in Garden City, and some other major life things happened, and then that's when I got set into very bad depression. And what actually got me in there was I had an altercation with the police there because I was trying to walk in front of a car and end my life.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And because I thought my life was over when these major changes happened.
Right. So whenabouts was this? What?
That was in probably 2006, 2007.
Okay.
And I was hospitalized many times. I had ECT treatments that helped my depression finally. But
Okay. So
Yeah.
so you were medication resistant.
yes, they would start me on some, and then it would
Just stop working?
just stopped working.
Yeah.
And so then I had ECT treatments, and that kind of messed with the short-term memory for
What is
a
that?
while.
ECT?
The electric convulsive.
Electroshock
Yeah.
treatments?
Now, and it's different than how most people imagine it, but we'll share more about that later on.
I'm very
Okay.
curious about that.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I can tell you.
But before we go, I just want to offer a quick thank you to David Peterson, our production our executive producer, and Mike Padilla, our technical producer. And this is Our Own Voice, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a national alliance on mental illness. Our Own Voice is intended to humanize the misunderstood, highly stigmatized topic of mental illness by showing that it's possible and common to live well with a mental health condition. Well, Carol, during the break, and actually before the break, we had hit on ECT, and then during the break, we talked about stigma. So we're going to sort of double back now and talk about all that stuff on air so that the people who are listening can understand what we're talking about. So let's go back to ECT. ECT, by the way, stands for electroconvulsive therapy, and it is often given to patients who are medicine resistant, medication resistant, and that's what your case was, right?
Right. The antidepressants kept not working.
Right, and that happens in some cases. So basically, for ECT treatments, you are taken into a hospital room, all right? And contrary to what people imagine for the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest experience that they show on screen, they don't do this while you're awake. They give you a sedative and put you out. So you experience this while you're sleeping, and it's meant to sort of reboot the brain, and it resets it. And one of the side effects is short-term memory loss. And then when you wake up, they make sure you're settled and everything like that. And you were telling us the regime that you had to go through. What was the process again?
For the ECT
Yes.
treatments? Well, I'm not sure.
Okay,
exactly.
How many did they have?
Oh, the
yeah.
regime.
Yeah, you have to go through the regime.
There's what they call a round of.
Thank you.
of-
Around.
A round of ECT is you go 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
usually on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Then you go 2 times a week for a few weeks, and then 1 time a week, and then after that you can have a maintenance dose once a month.
Right. And you stopped doing that because of something physical that was happening.
Well, yeah, they had to give me something to slow my heart rate down the last 2 treatments that I had, and so I just said that never happened before, and so I just thought that's my body saying enough is enough.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that you quit?
2014
Yeah.
was my last treatment.
But you are doing really well.
Yeah, I think she did
Yes.
great.
Yeah,
She's
phenomenal.
She is
well,
very
they,
functional.
They told me that even my smile came back, and color, you
Did
know,
it? Excellent.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
that-
stay busy now.
Yeah, that's a wonderful feeling to hear people say you're smiling again,
Yes.
and you are.
You are who you are.
Yeah. Now this sort of all figures into stigma, how stigma takes place within our lives. So tell us about your personal stigma that you had to deal with.
Well, I was working as a nurse, and which I love helping people, and I was afraid to tell them I was struggling getting out of bed, struggling with doing things that I used to like to do, and I just because I was afraid I'd lose my job because
Right.
of the stigma, and the thoughts that people have that, you know, you're a nurse, you should never be sick, or you should know better, or
What was that?
something.
What was that quote she had?
She said nurses never get sick.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. They
Yeah.
don't, do they?
No.
Yes, they do, and so do doctors.
Oh, that's right. Too.
Yeah,
Yes.
doctors and nurses, although they are trained professionals, they are still human.
And mechanics sometimes have a broken car.
That's right.
Right.
Exactly. And what was it you were saying, Mike, that you had hurt your back at one time,
Right.
and they basically used
Electrostimulation.
to stimulate the muscles to get them moving again.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
So I think that if you put it in the context, if your brain is like a computer, and it pretty much is, I
Yes.
mean, and it works on electrical signals, which it does, that if your computer that you have on your desktop at home goes down, you might have to reboot it. And what she's talking about is that's basically what you're doing,
yeah,
isn't it?
rebooting
Right.
your brain.
Yeah.
And it like stimulates the serotonin in your brain.
Yeah.
Is what it
And
does.
for our listeners, serotonin is one of those chemicals that sort of flood your brain. It's called a neurotransmitter, and it helps the neurons to fire their messages back and forth to each other. And when you don't have the serotonin, or it gets missed somehow, you just start feeling low, down, whatever. So, well, I want to note that this is Our Own Voice. We are going to take another quick break. This is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio, and we are talking with Carol about mental illness, and we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So, Carol, tell us about your family.
Well, I have 3 children, and I got 14 grandchildren.
Wow, that's
Yes.
amazing.
And each one of them have their own little personality.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yes.
So, and my second daughter, she's got her oldest one's going to be 22 Saturday,
Wow.
and then she has them like 18, 15, and 13, and then all of a sudden, and she wasn't supposed to have any more. The doctor told her she had a 1 in 99% chance of ever having any more. Well, she got pregnant with my granddaughter, Kimber, that just turned 2. And then she has a son that's just turned 1 in November. And so,
Well, I'm going to say, can you list all their names? Just their
Yes.
first name. Just go through all of them and say hello to all of them.
yes, hello to, starting with the oldest, Daniel, Tanisha, and Cheyenne. And then I have Joshua, that's going to be 22, and Derek, Layton, Kenna, Kimber, and Jackson. I'll name those. And then Brianna, AJ, Bella, Matthew, and Zoe.
That is
Fantastic.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Did she get them all?
Yes, she did.
Were you
Mom.
counting?
No, I wasn't. I was trusting that she got them all.
Yes, I did.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Also, say hello to your children.
And I want to say hello to Jody, Jennifer, and Anthony.
And what about Anthony? You were telling us.
Anthony, he's a pastor of the Water's Edge Community Church in Hayesville.
It's a new church, isn't it?
Yes, it is. That's what he's doing with the Nazarene Church. He's planting churches. He was a Methodist minister, and then about 2 years ago he changed denominations, and now
Okay.
he's with the Nazarene Church.
That is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is so great. So, what else can you tell us about your family? Anything else?
They've been really supportive to me.
Have they?
My kids have, yes.
Excellent.
They're very supportive to me, staying well and doing the things that I need to do to stay well.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, I guess I could is this where I could mention that my mom had a mental
Yeah,
illness?
you can. Mm-hmm.
Yes, my mother, I grew up and we didn't know that, I didn't know this until I was an adult, but sometimes we'd wake up and we'd be at our grandparents and our mom would be gone. My mom, my dad, they were divorced. And so we didn't know where our mom was, but we would be at our grandparents. And then they would tell us that our mom was in the hospital, but we could never go see her. I never did understand why we couldn't go visit her. Well, as I grew up and got to be an adult and everything, then that's when I learned that my mom was in the state hospital getting treatment for mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
But they never would tell us what mental illness she had. But I can, after learning more about mental health, I'm pretty sure she had bipolar
Okay.
disorder because she would have her mood swings.
All right.
And so,
Well, now to sort of jump into another section, I'm going to ask you, in what ways are you keeping busy? And you're keeping busy in a lot of ways.
yes, I'm involved with Project Independence, which is a CRO.
What is a CRO for our listeners?
Consumer-run organization.
Right. That
Right.
means that the people there who have a mental health condition are the ones who are running the organization.
Right, right.
Okay.
Which is different than Breakthrough Club that I work at. Breakthrough Club, I teach aggression replacement training and aggression replacement training and thinking for change classes at Breakthrough Club, plus many other little things they ask me to do there.
Okay.
How long have you been doing that?
I have been a certified peer specialist for 8 years. I worked at, almost 7 years. I guess I worked 4 years at Mental Health Association and then as a certified peer specialist, and then I am now working at Breakthrough Club, and I've been there 3 years.
Wow.
Okay.
She
Well,
keeps busy.
yeah, very busy. Well, David, I'm going to pull you in, and I want you to give us that special number before we go on a break.
I'd be happy to. That number is 316-686-1373.
And you're going to tell us more about that number when we come back, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
All
That
right.
number again is 316-686-1373.
Thank you for that one. And this is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio. We are talking with Carol about so many different things, having a wonderful time, and we are going to take a quick break, and we will be right back after some messages.
If you would like to learn more about the National Alliance on Mental Illness and how you can get involved in mental health advocacy, please visit our website at NAMI.org.
Welcome back to Our Own Voice, a partnership in mental health awareness in cooperation with NAMI Wichita and KSUN Community Radio. NAMI is a National Alliance on Mental Illness. Now, David, before the break, we had you give a wonderful number. Give that number again to our listeners.
I will most certainly. It's 316-686-1373. And what that number is, it's NAMI's voicemail. And if you'll call that number, someone will get back to you as soon as possible. And like David said earlier, we work with education, awareness, support, and advocacy. And we really, I'm stressing the support now. If you or a family member is suffering from mental illness, please call that number and give us, and we'll try to be supportive. We don't have all the answers, but we can be supportive to you. But one of the things NAMI is really involved in, and in fact, it's one of our major national themes, is to cure stigma. And I know Carol is behind that goal too.
Yeah, in fact, there's something about stigma that you get to tell us about.
Yeah. I'm president of the Kansas Consumer Advisory Council, and we're having a recovery conference in Park City, June 11th and 12th. And our theme for the recovery conference this year is breaking stigma.
That is wonderful. And so, in what ways can we break stigma now?
One way is just by start talking about mental health, just what we're doing right now, just talking about mental illness, and not to be afraid to say I need help. Like for me, I didn't call anybody when I wanted to end my life, but there are numbers now, like the one that we gave for NAMI.
Mm-hmm. When people are seeking help, that's the number you can call to get more information from NAMI.
Right. And also there are suicide hotlines that you can
which
call.
are very important.
There is ComCare Crisis here that you can call. And not to be afraid, just basically by us talking about it now, and by us being able to share what, and I'm a firm believer that recovery is possible. If you have a mental illness, recovery is possible. For each one of us, recovery is different. Recovery for me means I'm living a productive life in the community without symptoms.
That's wonderful.
That to me is recovery.
Yeah. And that's good that you recognize that recovery is different for each person individually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're all different individuals, and sometimes what works for me might not work for somebody else, but and as a peer support, I learn from my peers, things that I haven't ever tried. And peer support is a evidence-based practice that works, and it's like we're on a journey together, learning from each other.
Yeah, that is excellent too. How long have you been a peer specialist?
For 8 years.
8 years.
8 years.
That is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And what did it take to get to being a peer specialist?
I had to take classes. There's special courses that I did mine at KU, but KU's not got the contract anymore. It's a state contract thing. WSU is going to start teaching peer support again to become certified, and then you have to take a state test. So
okay, can I approach another subject? Since your son is a minister, how has faith played a role in your recovery?
a lot. I depend on God a lot.
Okay.
And I pray a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my tools that I use to stay healthy. I have a toolbox, that's called a toolbox.
Uh-huh.
And I pick out something off of that every day to, whether it means taking a shower or going for a walk with my dog. I do have a little dog.
Wonderful. What's your dog's name?
Rocky.
Rocky.
Yes.
Awesome.
And sometimes I think he's got a mental disorder too.
What other
Or he's-
what other coping skills do you have or do you
Yes.
utilize?
Coping skills. I usually I like to watch movies. If I really am down, I call a friend. I talk to a friend. Call my friends or my family and let them know.
So
hey,
you don't keep it inside of you.
No,
That's bad
No.
if you did that, right?
it would be yes. I used to keep it inside, but now I can reach out.
Do you do any techniques like journaling or anything like that, or does it not work for you?
No, I don't do journaling.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, I know it doesn't work for a lot of people.
Yeah,
so
I'm not a writer.
Yeah.
But, I get on the phone and call.
that's good. Excellent.
Okay.
We have talked with Carol about so many different things. She is a very busy person. We want to thank you for being our guest today. This is Our Own Voice on KSUN Community Radio, and join us for our next Our Own Voice program.